that we're going to separately, but this is a stepping stone. Okay, so we're not, view members here. Okay, and then we go to add, modify, transmittal. We click on that. So remember, the word transmittal is meaning that we're going to transmit their membership renewal. This brings us to a new one. Here's the screen here, post transmittal here, okay?
Excuse me, Alice.
Yes, go ahead.
Where is this transmitting to right now when we're doing this?
Right now, it hasn't gone anywhere.
Database and what?
Well, right now,
It'll be personified to national.
it will, and we'll mention that as we go along. Good point, David. Where we are right now is we are in a database making selections. Remember I said you have to hit the save button type of thing? Okay, we haven't hit anything, we haven't selected anything yet. So we're in the process of selection. We chose an individual's name, and we're now at that point in time that was, I mean, we came to view members. Now, that's a good point. If you can't click on a name on the front screen, that's only for the rosters. You need to go over to the right-hand side of that screen, and it's an add, modify, transmittal. Now we're at another screen in which you get to make selections again. Now, if you're a creature of habit like I am, look at this part. In the previous section, it had last name on top, first name on the bottom. This one here is first name on the top, last name on the bottom. And I mention that because I'm a creature of habit. I go to this screen, I start typing in the letters, no name. And that's odd. I know it's a real valid one. What happened? Bingo. Okay. The same thing with when it says view all for all of them. Okay. If you develop good habits, it makes your life a lot easier. If you develop bad habits, it makes your life more challenging. Okay. Now, we're going to do, I'll say his name anyway, Keith's again. But all I'm going to type in is the first three letters. Okay. And it will, that's good. That's a good reason. I live 18 miles from the post. And the commander's there every day because he lives right around the block almost. And he's a very good person. I mean, he babysits the post. God bless him, he does a wonderful job. So he brings the mail in every day. So I said, hey, instead of me driving 18 miles every 2 days to check on the mail, why don't you open the renewals, and he deposits the check, which is nice, and he sends me the information. He takes a picture of it and sends it to me. Okay, so John Doe renewed, here's the check number, here's the amount, blah, 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 and the date, bingo. Okay. The problem is, sometimes he writes it, and he has a tendency to spell the names creatively. Computers it's a strange creature, it's fussy that way. If you don't type the name in correctly, it doesn't work right. It doesn't exactly a null response. Okay, and then that means the say begins with, one of them was he put B-U-R, and it was B-E-U. Okay, so if you type the first three letters, that helps out. Okay, it makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to just type the first three letters and hit search. Bingo. Now that's not nice. They are valid too. And it did say 23. Last year paid was 23. And that is under the last name column. Okay. Remember I said there are some things that are work in progress? Let me try his first name only. Okay, one of the things that I've offered as a suggestion is how many times have we typed in something that was back bad response or password invalid, stuff like that? I did some programming also. I took it in college besides fixing the machines. The bottom line is when you're working with a person like us and we make an entry, give me a response. Don't ignore me. That's not polite and it's not helpful. Okay? So it's not helpful when it doesn't return anything. Let's go back and we'll pick another name then. Maybe I goofed up here. Okay, here we are again. All right, now that's fascinating. Here's one of the classic cases. Here's the individual. We come across here. Oh, I know what might happen. It says last year paid is 23 expired. Okay. Let's digress for a moment. You know where that might be? might be in progress. They call it in transit or in, okay? So if he was renewed and it is being processed, instead of helping us out by saying it's in process or whatever, it ignores it. And that's not a polite response, so, okay. So let's digress for a moment, and I'll show you how you can find if it has been renewed and is in process. How's that sound? Okay. So we will go back over here.
Let me try one of the other ones.
Should
Should have
be.
still popped up, even if, with the 3-year option, it should have still popped up, I would thought.
It should have. We agree, my friend, we agree.
Is it because it's too close to the end of the year or something?
My friend, we're dealing with computers they're smart.
I've noticed that national is usually 3 months behind what my spittle was.
Part of the issue is that the computers are logical. They're programmed to think logically. Choices are binary. It's either a 0 or 1, which means it's a yes or a 2. Okay? Yes or 2. A yes or no.
Yes or no? 1 or 2, yeah, yes or no?
Yeah, well, there is no 2 in binary. Binary 2 is 1, 0.
Binary, octal,
Yeah, binary 2, in decimal 2 in binary is 1, 0. Okay, so let's go back, we're going back to the My Views, okay? We're back one page, and see where it says transmittal history. So we click on that. And this was the next row down there, so we'll digress over here for a moment. Oh, that's not a big help. Okay, so
If you click on the one that says in process,
I will, yes.
it will tell you who's in process.
I will, let's see, wait a minute. Process date, okay. Here's a list of the recent ones, and if the past 30 days up here. All right, let's take a moment. I've been sharing a bunch of things. Let's focus for a minute. What we're doing is we're taking a side trip right now to see why this individual is returning a null response or a no response. Okay? We know it's valid. We know he expired in '23. We can't renew him. So the options that are left are, or is singular really, that it was renewed and it is in process and has not been finished. Everybody follow that? Okay, like the checks in the mail, if you put, with the VA payments for my bills, my medication, I kept getting answers, that, oh, you owe this, you owe this. I said, no. So what happens is, I had it programmed by the bank to pay on a certain day of the month, and that was one day after their cutoff date for the reports. So once you know the cutoff date, then you just backtrack it, and everything's perfect now. Okay, so here are the last 30 days in renewals, okay? And I know it's a little bit small here, maybe I can make it a little bit bigger. Does that help a little bit? Does that look bigger up there? Anybody know how I just did that, by the way? How do you make your screen bigger if you want to see it a little bit better? This man's certified Microsoft genius. And he's got the credentials to go with it. He hit
Probably
the,
called CIO.
yeah, like he's Chief Information Officer, and those that have difficulty remembering the corporate structure lovingly call him EIEIO.
That's right.
Okay.
I said CIO.
Yeah, okay. So if you want to make your screen a little bit bigger, I know it works with the Androids, I don't know about the Macs. Hold the Control key down and the plus bar once. Okay, Control and then plus, or Control and then minus. Okay? So these have all been processed here. These are the dates. And these two down here are in process, and there's 12 on one and 6 on the other. That means there are 18 names in process. So it's really nice to know those statistics. How do we find out whose names are on that sheet? Is that your question?
No, where do these 5 names, what list are these 5 names coming from? A post or that list of 135 that we usually start?
Okay.
Where did it pick those names?
Okay, that's a good question. In the beginning, when I showed you the drop-down menu,
Yeah.
the different levels of leadership have different access to specific groups. Okay, the DVCs, Tony, David, myself, Mary Jo, and Sophia have access to our 4 counties. Okay. However, when it gets into the transmittal issues, I can only go to post 86, and that's only because I'm membership chair there. I'm First Vice's membership chair. Has nothing to do with my state level position. Okay, so what we have now are a total of 18. So we're gonna click on we'll take the top one first, and we'll look for that gentleman's name and see if he's on here. And then we'll get back to renewing somebody else who's not on here. Oh, okay, it's gonna give me it's gonna send it to me in a PDF form. I have PDF one here, so it should work, hopefully. It's gonna give me a budget if it doesn't. One gentleman. Oh, it's with, okay. Oh, hot dog, okay, this. Okay, so we come down here, and here's the post name. There were 12 cards that were in process right now. And if we look down here, I don't see his name on here. Maybe on the other one. But that's how you do it, okay? So we'll cancel this. We'll go back to here, and we'll click on the second one. Notice in here the transmittal numbers on the left column over here. They turn the icon into a hand, and the other indicator is that the text is in blue as a link. Sometimes we'll see text with an underscore as well. Be right with you, sir. All right, what it does is it sends it out as an Adobe PDF file, or as a PDF file, and I use Adobe to open it and read. Oh, start the download. That's a third-party program that I use. It's a little bit slow. All right, what's your question in the meantime, sir?
This only reflects what is paid online. The traditional method where they mail the cards to Trish with the money, those names wouldn't appear there.
That is correct. Okay. And
So there's traditional way. You mentioned that there's
Takes a 3 month.
the reason is, let's say the month of February, you mailed something today. Trish only sends one transmittal to national per month. Then another month goes by, at the end of that month, they
Or-
send it back to Trish that these person are paid, and then that's when she updates the
Yeah.
departments.
I'm going to get into that a little bit more, but that's an interesting point. Okay, look down here, the third one from the bottom, there's the gentleman whose name doesn't appear that we can't work with, okay? That we can't renew. It's already been renewed. Everybody follow that? How we got there?
I got one quick question.
Sure, go ahead.
The only people that can change this information on this are the commanders or the adjutants, correct?
Unless they
Bear with-
give you permission.
Right.
And that's our next step. We're going to get into assigning
Give someone
permission.
else permission.
Okay.
But the
Okay.
adjutant-
We-
Because I'm doing more than one office at a time. I'm doing like 3 different offices
Yeah.
at the same time.
Oh, we. Okay, folks, let's focus here for a minute. What time is it? We're doing pretty well. There's 18 names that are in process right now. So picking a name that needs to be renewed can be a real challenge. And I don't want to waste a lot of time, so let's get on with the other meat of our conversation, and then we can come back to that if time permits. That sound workable to you? How many people here actually renew membership online personally? Besides me. All right, then it's not critical, okay? In some of the other seminars, we've had people there who needed to learn how to do that. So let me address your statement before. That's a really wonderful thing, both of you, okay? We're requesting that people renew, membership people renew online. And there's reasons plural for that, okay? Number one, in the beginning, okay, when the membership cards come out, and you fill out that information and submit it. Okay? I asked, as county commander and DVC, I've asked them to send me a copy of it, just copy me on, make a copy and send it to me. Some photograph it, some scan it, whatever works. That way I know it's in process there. Okay, so the key thing is that when we renew it online, it is linked, it has to be linked to our Post checking account. Now, you can use more than one checking account. Some of the larger posts have a separate checking account for membership, and some for leadership, some for general operations. We're a small post, we have a single one. Okay, that checking account that we use for membership needs to be set up in mylegion.org with, working together with the finance officer. Okay, so ours has already been set up and it works fine. What we do is we go through the renewal, and then we click on it, we review it, et cetera, and bingo, it gets taken care of, and it prints out those, it makes those beautiful reports. Okay? Now, the question is, what if they don't do it online, the renewals? So that if you renew it online, once you hit the enter key and the save key to go, theoretically, it's 10 working days. And bear in mind that during the holidays, there's a lot of days are not working days, including the weekends. So that's a minimum of 10 working days, but it's good. The other alternative is John Doe or Jane Smith sends in their renewal check. The membership person gets the check, and the membership person takes the check, records it, gives the check to the finance officer for processing, and then sends out the membership person sends out the membership card, et cetera. Okay. Now, at 68 cents per letter, first-class letter, we have finance officers say, I'm not going to mail a single check for one, I'm going to wait until I get several. So let's think about how this logjam can multiply as we go downhill. The checks come into the post. The membership person submits them to the finance officer, who then accumulates them, quote unquote. When that individual gets several of them, it's, okay, now there's a bunch of them, I'll send in a check down to the department. The department then saves them. The technical word is aggregates them. It means that they collect them and it delays things, but you can't, at the department level, you can't send them in every blessed day. You have other things to do. That's why we're volunteers. So they save them and then they send them in. And Tricia is a really wonderful lady. She's been extremely knowledgeable about it. And as we get close to national deadlines, she overnights them at the last minute to make sure that they get them in time to process them. Okay? But you can see that every step of the way is a further delay. And it makes life more challenging. Okay? So that's basically how we renew it. Let's take a 10-minute break for restrooms and stepping up and stretching our legs. And we'll come back and we're going to show you how to assign how to assign permissions, because only the adjutant and commander are granted them by national. And if you have a membership chair who's not one of those two, then that person needs access to it. We're going to show you how to do that. Let's take a break.
This evening, and I don't know what time they're coming in to decorate.
Okay. Take a deep breath. Let me start with a question that we had talked about previously, that we're going to get into granting permission and doing reports. Okay, so we're here at the seminar, the workshop today. We go back to our post and we're going to be asked, hey, you went to that workshop. How did it work out for you? And you say, well, it was good, I learned some stuff. So then they're going to ask you the next question, what did you learn? Who wants to share with us that what you've learned so far? And the show of hands is enormous, so we're going to have to use a lottery system.
You want us to show you or tell you?
Yeah. Go ahead, you can share it with us, that's okay.
Well, I would try. I would say I learned how to log on,
Mhm.
go to my group, my post, get the column off to the left, I can view membership, and then I can make, subdivide that into people that are active, expired, and how to access the transmittal history.
Okay, that's a good answer there. There's lots of good things that we're learning. Now, here's where we're gonna start off right now. We're gonna start with granting permissions. Let's set the stage for that. As we had said before, the post will have elections, and then you will submit the paperwork with the new officer's information and contact information, and that goes to national. National will then send permissions or grant permissions to the commander and the adjutant. Now, years ago, it changed from when I was doing it before. Now I'm told that both the commander and the adjutant have view and edit capabilities. Previously, only the adjutant had the ability to edit. The commander could look at it but not edit. Okay, in the post that I work with, I recommend, and if you're using it online, the membership renewals online, then grant the finance officer access so that he or she can see the transmittals and see what is happening. 5-5? I have a loud voice, and I lost my voice for a little while, and the world was a little quieter. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna grant permissions, and here's one of the tricky parts. In the beginning, we said that My Legion does some things really well, it does some things really good, which is pretty similar, and there are some things that I call a work in progress, where it could be improved. The recommendation that several of us have made is as follows. Since the membership chairperson is responsible for using mylegion.org for the renewal of membership, why isn't that person automatically granted permissions from national? Because the way it comes in now is the commander or the adjutant, previously it was the adjutant, had to go in there and grant the permission to the membership chairperson, so the membership chairperson could do his or her job. Notice I'm saying his or her, because most of us are guys here, but we have to remember, we have lady veterans. Out at the National Membership Workshop, one of the lady veterans that was sitting close to the three of us, actually there was 5 of us there, and she said that she and her husband are both veterans, and when they go someplace, they always refer to him as the veteran, and they ignore her. And the truth of the matter is, I think she was the commander of the post. She was the commander, okay? So, I don't like the pronouns that are other than him and her. So I just say, make sure that you recognize that it could be a him or a her that are members there, okay? So if you're doing membership, make sure that he or she is granted the proper respect and authority. Okay, so here's our objective. Our objective is we're going to find a person and grant that person, let's say it's going to be the membership chair, that person we're going to give access to mylegion.org data. Now, any member can sign into mylegion.org and see their own contact information, and there's a variety of other things you can look at here. There's also a link that goes to legion.org, which is the main website. But we're talking about membership here. So, sign in, I'm already signed in here. We're going to go to my groups. Make sure you're at post, whatever you want to be at. This is post specific. And you come down to, wait a minute, I didn't get there yet. One of you was referring to the menu on the left-hand side, that's called navigation, vertical navigation bar. Okay, so let's come down there and we're going to look at view members. See it under membership? So we're going to click on that. Okay, notice that we have post 86 up here because it's post specific. Okay, now we're going to pick a name and we're going to grant that person permission. So hypothetically, this individual will be, we'll say pick the same one, we'll pick on Keith again. And if one in the room a few minutes ago, Steve was mentioning that when I'm doing some of this membership information, he's not pointing at the screen because he contains personal information about real individuals, so he's got the camera pointed at the audience. Okay? So we're gonna go to this individual again, and our objective is to grant this individual permission. Let's say, for example, that this individual has been named as the membership chair, okay? So the first thing we do is we go to view members, we find the individual, we click on it. If you notice, I pick on the same name all the time. Not only is he a friend of mine, but the good news is that if I mess something up, which is not unheard of, I always know where to go back to the same one. If I just pick one randomly, it can make life more challenging. Okay, so we're going to find this individual, and we're gonna grant him, in this case, permissions. Now, this is one of the things that they do exceedingly well. So we go to My Views, we clicked on the My Groups, we go over here, and we chose an individual. Remember, this is the individual we chose, Keith. Let's go over here to the vertical navigation bar. Real easy to find the location. It's at the very bottom, and it says Assign Group Permissions. Now, for those of you who haven't grown up around computers, you might notice that when you go through different levels of software with programs like this, you'll find that different levels of people have permission to do certain things that others don't. For example, in this case, members can look at general stuff, they can't access membership unless they're granted the privileges. So the access to that is called privileges. And the formal term is we have a hierarchy of a structure, and different levels are granted different permissions. It was interesting because, remember I said we had to send certain things to Trish, who then has to send them out to National? Well, at Legion College last year, when Rich and I were teaching this course, we had a fellow there from Legion College. And like many of us, there was people there that had some questions about getting on. Well, his email had changed, so he couldn't get on. So I said, okay, well then I'm gonna have to go back and get Tricia to do it. And Mark was sitting there from National, he said, I got access to it, I'll do it for you right now. So I was like, whoa, that's really nice. But bless his soul, Mark knew it all, put it right in there, blip, 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 he fixed it for us. So by the way, we're at Legion College again, coming up the end of April, down at Seagirt, and the membership course, as far as I know today, for our membership, there are available applications in there, available places in there. Okay, so our objective is to grant this individual permissions. Remember how we got to this page? We went to My Groups, we went over to this Choose View Members, we went down to this, to an individual that we're gonna be working with, this particular person in this case, and we're here, and on the left-hand side, it says Assign Group Permissions. So we're gonna click on that, and it's gonna get exciting at this point in time, okay? Now, one of the things that I said is that they do a lot of things well, they do some things excellent, and some things are a work in process. A work in process means that some of us get a little bit of agita when we get to that page. I used to be able to grant permissions and show you how to give it to him, but National has changed their policy. And I've requested access to it. I said, Rich and I teach seminars throughout the state. It would be nice if we could show them the screens, the actual process, and the answer is it didn't happen. So we're going to get around that. However, the good news is that if any of you have already granted permission, you'll have access to the screen. And if not, I will tell you what it says, because I remember it. Okay, so we went to an individual that we're going to be granting permissions to, assigning group permissions. When you click on it, you will come to this page without the word access denied, and it will have some dialogue across the top, and it'll say, these are the permissions that are granted in some paraphrase. And underneath that, we'll list whatever permissions that individual has been granted. Typically, if we're doing it for the first time, they have none granted. The reason it shows the ones that are granted is because in addition to granting permissions, if it changes, you can ungrant them permissions you can revoke them, okay? So you're gonna have this screen here, you can see the cursor. Mine has these big letters here, access denied. Over on the right-hand side, it's going to say edit. We click on edit. Does anybody have that screen actually available here? Good, I thought you might wanna look over there and listen to it. So you're gonna have the word edit over here. When you get edit, you'll have 5 options there. There are 5 check boxes. What you do is you check the top 3. Okay? Our objective is to grant that person permission to view and to edit membership areas. The 4th one would be to grant them permission to further grant permissions, and that's a circular equation, you don't want to go down that road. And the 5th one is unused at this point, it stays there for future use. Presumably, it was an option that existed in the previous database as a customizable form, and we're waiting for it. Okay, so what you do is you go to this page, you go to edit, and you click on the top 3 boxes. When you click on the top 3, when you click on a box, it will change color, and it will have a check mark in it. Scroll down the screen, which means you have to move it up to get down to the bottom of it, and you click on the save. There's a save and a cancel option. You click on save. Once you've clicked on save, you have now committed, you have now granted permissions, you have now committed that particular job. So then you come back to this page, okay, you can use the back arrow, or you can use these breadcrumbs across the top, and you will then have, instead of the words I have up here, you will then have those 3 levels of permission granted that you just gave. It's a good check to make sure that all 3 were checked. Again, if we get sidetracked or we make a mistake, that's important that we verify our work. So that's how we grant the permissions. If there's a person moves away or for some other reason is not able to fulfill those responsibilities and you want to revoke it, you follow the same process. You go to that individual, view members, choose that individual, and then you come down to grant assign group permissions. You come to this page, you come over to the right where it says edit, you click on edit and you uncheck all 3 boxes. Okay? Anybody have any questions about that? Yes, sir.
The only thing I want to point out, when you're given access, and PDC Fisher pointed this out, there's data there that is personal. Don't print it out and give it to all other people. It's the people that are assigned have the ability to edit, and it doesn't go anywhere else.
That is correct. That's a very good point.
Otherwise, you could be posted risk.
Yes, all this information that we see as membership is germane to the American Legion, and it is not to be shared. In fact, at the DEC meeting last week, the updated Privacy Act is there, and one of the statements is that the Department of New Jersey, the American Legion, does not sell, share, or there's a third word that goes with it. They don't provide it to anybody else. Okay, and we need to keep that that level of confidentiality as well. Okay.
One other question.
Sure.
So, just to clarify, automatically, the 3 positions that have access to this, once we notify the county and then they notify national, are the commander, adjutant, and the membership chair, is that correct?
Okay.
Commander adjutant gets permission.
We have to add the
Off.
3rd one.
You have to add,
The commander and adjutant are the only 2 granted by nationals.
okay.
And I mentioned to Mark last year that would be a good idea if national would put the membership chairperson and save us, because you say, well, what's the problem? It's really simple to go ahead and do this, and the answer to that is anything's simple theoretically, okay? Again, true stories, we only tell true stories, but some of them are fascinating. Now, bear in mind, only the commander and the adjutant can grant permissions, right? We actually have, actually, he's still, I think he's still there, but last year when I was working with, we had one individual in a post who was both the commander and the adjutant. He does not own a computer, does not own a smartphone, and is a wonderful guy and a good leader, but he's just simply not a computer guy. So we got him squared away. Last year, Vice Commander Dennis Duddy had some computers available that were donated to the organization. We got this gentleman one. Okay, and we had set up some seminars in the library. I made arrangements with the Sussex County Library. They provided 10 Chromebooks across the table. We had a projector, and he attended several seminars there. So we got him an email address, and he comes out to the seminar, and now good, we're gonna get you on mylegion.org. And you can't make this stuff up, and it gets challenging. Okay, so I sat there with him, I got him on the mylegion.org to create an account, and then I said, okay, good, all right, at this point, we had an email address created for him separately. Okay, now type in your name. There's two places, first name and last name. So type in your name. Honest to goodness, the question is, how do you do a capital R? We don't think, we take this for granted, so, okay, no problem. Hold the shift key and press R. Second question, where's the shift key?
Oh,
So we said there's two, one on either side of the keyboard. And at this time, John Chicello was in his organization, and he was a blessing, he went over and helped the gentleman. When he told me he wants to come to the seminar, because he got the information, he got the flyers that were passed out, and he called me, because my name was on it to come here, his name was Tony Rose here. So he called me, he said, well, how do I get there? I need directions. So this is before I knew he wasn't computer savvy. So I said, no, you go to Google Maps and you can print it out. So honest to goodness, I knew his address. So I had to go to Google Maps, key in his address, put in the location of the library, print out the several sheets of directions to get there with the map, put them in an envelope, address them, and physically regular snail mail to him. Now, I say that because it's almost like a war story. This is really drastic. But he's a great worker and a great guy. He just didn't have exposure to computers. So what we're asking is, if you are computer savvy, when you go back to your local organizations, whether it be a post level, a county level, or a combination thereof, offer to help some people who are not computer savvy, like this gentleman. Okay, so that's critical. All right, so our next step, does anybody have any questions about granting or revoking privileges? Yes, Bruce.
Go back to, where it's assigned group permissions.
That's, okay, go ahead.
Okay. She has been granted permission for everything.
All
So
five.
she was following you, she picked a name at random, just like you did, and it said access denied. So, what I told her to do was go up to contact, which is, it's not on that screen right now. Go on to contact, mylegion.org, send an email, it'll ask your name, your ID number, and then you state that I've been granted permissions to edit, so-and-so, but it says access denied, please advise. And then she should get an email back saying that immediately from National that
Well, not
they
immediately.
got your ticket. Well, usually I get it right away.
You're creating a ticket, and that's fine.
Yeah, but now it's another post, same issue. They've been granted permissions, but they can't make any edits. So I don't know if it's National's issue or.
Let's just say that it's a work in process. It's funny. The way I found out that it said access denied, I was doing something. I don't normally grant permissions except when I teach. But I wanted to go through a couple of the things, because I didn't remember what 1 and 2. Number 1 is, I don't remember what that option is. I think one of them is, it gives you permission to view, the other one gives you permission to view and edit. And I think there's a third one, but I don't remember what it is, but they say all three. But just check one of the top three. And I was, where did that come from? So that's when I sent an email, I sent it to National. I don't create a ticket, which you can, there's more than one way to get there. Do follow that process to be safe. What the people up in leadership do is we go directly to Pam Johnson out in Indianapolis, and we got a chance to meet her and Libby Vickers, National Tech Support. And it's interesting, I asked them a question out there, I said, can you please check? Now, I'm out in Indianapolis, I had my laptop up in the room, and they were downstairs where all the seminars were. So I said, I can't grant permissions, can you check it? So now they have, they have God level entry to it, okay? They access to it. So they went on it and said, oh, okay, no problem, you've got it. I said, great, I come back home, I don't have it. So then I said, well, she said, I'm showing that you have it. So I said, here, do me a favor. Here's my name, my sign-on, my password. I can always change it later, but I trust them. Besides, they can mess up more things than I can. So National signs in under my name and says, oh yeah, you're right, you don't have it. Even though it was granted at a national level. So the bottom line is, as we said before, they're doing a lot of good things, they're making lots of improvements, and portions of it are a work in process, so we will work together to get that for you. Okay, my friend?
Yep.
All right, now we're gonna go into, well, we got 11:30, we're gonna break just before 12. Now let's get back into the view members area. Let's all go back there together. Anybody want to tell me how to get the view members? Okay, once again, there's so many hands raised, we're gonna use the lottery system. Okay. All right, so we go into, let's go back up here to my account. When we sign in, we get into my account right here. As it shows your name up there and your personal contact information. Then we go to my groups. In this case, we're gonna work with Post 86, which is the group that I can print out the rosters for. Actually, I can do with any of them, but we're gonna stick with my post for a moment. Okay? So we click on that one, and you see the little circle going around there, and that means it's thinking. So we come over here, and we click on View Members.
My account.
Okay? And when we click on it, we come to another page, and we're here. Okay. Let's say that we want to, let's print the whole roster first, that's real easy. Come down here, see where it says Export Full Roster? You just click on the Go button. Notice I didn't say View All, because I'm not gonna read any of it. Okay, when you hit the Go button, which means it takes you to the next screen, you have three options: Excel, CSV, and Word. You said you're familiar with Excel. Word is simply MS Word, which is a document creation program, and CSV. Anybody want to share what that stands for?
No idea.
Okay, well, that's a great answer, I like that. Okay, it stands for comma separated value. Okay, it's a variation of an Excel program, and CSV means it takes all the data and it separates it into different values.
So you could choose it, any one of them?
Well, it's useful if you take your full roster, and I've done this, is worth out neat. You take your full roster, save it as a CSV file, then you can import that into a Gmail account as a CSV file, and bingo, all those contacts are now in that email. So what we did, rather than putting them in my personal email, I created an email from Post 86 and loaded them in, and bingo, it works out really well. Now when the commander or the adjutant want to send out a message, like meeting reminders, or if we have events coming up and things like that, they can just click on that and it goes right in.
Does that also work with mailing labels if I wanted to print? Or is that a whole different?
You're reading my mind, sir, you're watching fast. We're gonna do that next.
All right, sorry.
Okay, so the bottom line is, in general, we're gonna use an Excel file. They're both very similar. Okay, so we just loaded that in, and it's going to Excel. I just click on it. Okay, roster data.
5 hours.
Not I.
Briar's calling.
Good job, Bruce.
This is not my phone either.
Somebody admit it now,
It's
come on.
I got mine on silent when I leave.
I got mine.
I don't know what it is.
Larry
Okay,
Bishop, the guy who drove away an hour ago?
Is that his phone?
that's
No.
Larry's?
I don't know.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
And
All right.
tell me it was Funhouse Dakota.
All right, so,
I don't know.
25, his phone commander.
Yeah.
did Larry leave his phone here?
I don't know.
He'll be back.
Oh, okay, good, we don't want that. Somebody safeguard that for us.
I just got a voicemail saying, hey, Tony, I left my phone there.
Oh, we know.
That was his.
Okay, so let's go back to the focus here.
Yeah.
What we did was we saved the file
Almost walked in front
to
of him.
Excel. Okay?
Steve, write that on your list.
So here we are here, and the columns are a little bit tight.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is, since you said you're familiar with Excel, I want you to come over to where it says continuous years. You can see it up on the screen here. Okay. Everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, good. Just find that. Everybody handles it their own way. One of the things I like to do is click on this. Enable editing first, guys, gals. And then under continuous years, I click on that. And I go up here and sort. Largest and smallest is what I prefer. Expand the, bingo, holy mackerel, 61 years. Okay, so the purpose that I
That
use,
person's old.
I'm gonna have to check to see whether, holy cow, he's renewed.
Yeah.
Wow. And, oh, wait a minute, that might be a Puffle over here. Yes, Puffle renewal. All right, that brings up a great point, where this is one of those teachable moments, okay? This gentleman has 61 years, consecutive years, by the way, okay? And if you look over, well, that's the question that we're asking. He's a Puffle renewal, which means that he's paid up for life, so it auto renews. So, do me a favor, write his name down there. It is Robert Y.E.R. Okay, so when I get home today, I'll give him a call to make sure that the gentleman is okay. Because there's a possibility after 61 years that it's auto-renewing. We don't know whether or
What's
not
his name?
Robert,
Mayor Robert.
M-A-Y-E-R. Alrighty? So that's a good point. That's, what we do is we sort them by years like that, and
Guess what?
the reason for that, from a membership standpoint, the longer that the individual has continuously renewed, the better the chances of retaining them. In membership in general, you'll learn that the majority of people who don't renew are within the first 3 years, years 1, 0 through 3. So if you've kept them for 3 years, chances are that they're gonna hang around longer. Alrighty? So that's what I like to do with it and put it here. Another thing that, if you're going to be using, if you're gonna be using this as a list, all right? If you don't, I'm just gonna teach you a couple, 2 minutes here. All right, we don't need the postage squadron number, since I just printed out all of one post. So you can click on here and right click and see where it says hide down there. That column is still there, but it's no longer visible. Okay? If you're making a list of members to make phone calls for your post as buddy checks and things, one of the things that I generally do is I click on that one, and the type of renewal, You hide those columns,
I wanna send you, you don't have to worry about writing it down.
okay? You hide those columns, and then when you print the pages, it doesn't take it as long. That's just goes wide, okay? Anybody have any questions about downloading it to an Excel file? That was the full roster. Okay, so let's close out Excel here for a moment, don't save. Now, we were talking before about undeliverables, okay? How do we go about making a list for our post of undeliverable emails, just a list? Okay? We go up to the details here, we come over to undeliverable on the right-hand column, see it?
Yep.
And we will select the yes box. So if we look here, it means everybody in any category to be included and undeliverables we're gonna look for. So we hit search, and it's showing us here. So we only have one, and that's this gentleman right here. And the interesting part is he's a snowbird. They send him materials in New Jersey, but he's living in Florida during the winter time. Why he doesn't put it forward, I guess it expired, I don't
You
know.
got a Florida address there.
I beg your pardon?
You got a location of a Florida address.
Yeah, it's a Florida address.
Wait a minute. Well, then he may have moved from there then.
That or,
Hey, wait, oh, you know what, there's two addresses. It's a goofed up address, let's put it that way, okay?
It's Florida.
I'll get the other one there.
Orientation.
Okay, let's go back to printing the rosters. Let's say you want to print a roster of people who are expired, whose membership is expired.
Let's see.
All right, so we come to view members. Okay, we come down to 20 minutes here, okay. And we want to be, okay, what I generally do, I go that are paid through 23, which is the last year. If you put expired up here on the member status, remember I said there's more than one way to get there? If you put this, it'll have expired any year before, unless they've removed it from the database. Okay? I like to focus on ones that are not paid, that expired at the end of December 31st, because they only need to renew for 1 year. Okay? So if you want a list of people who are paid through 2023, you select this box right here, you hit search, and then now we go to view all. And there are 36 members. I had 0 last year, we've got to get over, oh, don't forget 18 are in process. So, okay, that's a good point. So 18 expired, I'm sorry, there are 36 expired in this post. However, there are 18 in process for renewal, which shows that only 18 are still expired. And one of the things that we're trying to do is get all of our posts in the state over the top. And over the top means that you matched last year's membership and exceeded by 1, like majority. Okay, 1 more than that. Yes.
On the screen now, the middle box has 2023. You selected undeliverable in the right-hand side. Now that one undeliverable went away.
Yes, because I took it, yeah, because I took, okay, that's a good point. When we fill in data in here,
Yeah.
we do it on Google all the time. Just a trivia thing, it's called a search argument. When you change the search argument and you execute the process, it refreshes. Okay, so it went from the previous one. If I put member status here as active, I don't know if it'll, it might not do it right for me, but theoretically it should go away,
Okay.
okay?
Makes sense.
Yeah, the answer is, what it's supposed to do, it works the vast majority of the time, but sometimes it's embarrassing and it bites you. Okay, so you asked a question before, one of you, about printing labels. That's an important one. So let's roll the clock back. We're in December, and we're getting renewals in for the year, at the last minute, and we want to print labels for those who have renewed for 2024. Okay, so that's our objective. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get out of this area, because that's just printing rosters, and we're gonna come back to my groups, and come down, remember we came down here before? You look at the top, it says My Views, that's where our membership processing and transmittal history is. Come down to Reports and Labels, and we click on Reports and Labels. Now, I think we've all seen those sheets, the report size sheets, and it's 3 labels across, 10 labels down. It's the Avery 5160, and they have them generically as well. But they're called 3 by 10 labels. I buy them generically at 100 sheets at a time, and it's a good cost.
Where do you buy them?
Staples.
Okay.
Not this Staples, but another Staples.
I buy them from Amazon, and I look for the reviews to make sure that they're good quality. Okay, so anyway, our objective is to print 3 by 10 labels for the people whose membership expires in 24, meaning that they're paid. Because we're gonna send out membership cards then. Everybody follow the way, it's kind of convoluted wording. What we're gonna do is we're gonna be sending out membership cards for 2024, so we need a list of those who are paid for 2024. Okay, so we come down here and we click on 3 by 10 labels. Okay? Now, we've got a couple of areas we have to fill in. Now, I'm used to working left to right, but in this case, you have to work top to bottom. Notice that this one is 1 line higher than this one. So we select the value for the group, and you're not gonna have this many options there. It's post 86, okay? Different levels of leadership have different levels of access, but we're gonna print post 86. Last year paid, we want 2024, which is right there. Oops, bingo. Okay? And we're going to sort. Now, we can sort by name or by zip code. Always choose name. The purpose for the zip code is if you're doing bulk mailing and you get a discount, it'll sort by district, whatever the regional zip code district is. Okay, so we filled out all of these. Remember, the key thing is from the top down. If you try to go left to right, it'll goof up because it will not accept it unless you've printed all 3. So now we come over to View Report, and we click on it. Now, if you notice, there's nothing happening down here, so you wonder, but if you move the screen up, it's way down here. That's just an aesthetic thing, but as a programmer, I'd like to be able to see the response on the screen that I'm on, rather than having to modify the screen to get there. But it's there. Now, we can smile at this because this is a little bit larger than the typical labels, and it's not in the same type of a format that we need. So, we select the group of labels that we want, we hit View Report, and this is what we come up with. Now we will enter into a little bit further to get to where we want it to be. We're printing labels. We come to this icon here, which most of you know stands for Save. It's the small icon of the former 3.5-inch disc from years ago. So we click on Save. Notice the options here. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, TIFF file, which is a high-quality graphics image file. PDF. Anybody know what PDF is or stands for?
Portable document.
Portable document file. If you have an Android on your phone, or if you have let's say just with PCs and Macs or Apples, okay? If you create a document on your PC, you're using Windows, unless you're running an operating system emulation program on your Mac, you can't read the file. Okay, it's a native file for Windows. However, PDF, like the gentleman said, is a portable document file, and you can read it across all platforms. Okay, you can read it on Word, on Windows, on Mac, on Linux, and Ubuntu as well, okay? So what you do is you come down to PDF and you click on that. And that will bring you to the option to save it, as a file, all right? This is a third-party program that I use. When I download programs, it gives me this option, it automatically sorts them for me based upon the type. And I'm going to put this one onto the screen. It normally goes into a different area, I'm gonna put it up on the desktop on purpose here. Okay, so now we can click, download. It will download to your default download directory, which if you're using a Windows machine, it is C:// whatever your user ID is, / downloads. Okay, so when this wakes up and it creates my file, my PDF file, which is taking a long time here. We do have Adobe in here, let's make sure that the thing that worked before. It's a convoluted process, but it's exceptionally helpful. Yeah, it should work on there. Oh, there it is, right there, all right. All right. Notice it gives you an interesting name like PROD, P-R-O-D, reports LG, all kinds of nifty things. Then anyway, you see the icon there? That's that's Adobe Acrobat. It's a generic. Adobe Acrobat is a PDF file system that works there. And there's a free one, there's a free reader available. This is the Adobe Acrobat itself, where you can see things with it. Okay, so it creates a PDF file. And you double click on that, and guess what that looks like, folks? Bingo. Now, okay, so now it also is in alphabetical order, remember? And the alphabetical order starts with A's coming down this way, so it comes down, back up again, down, in a seesaw pattern, or a sawtooth pattern. Okay? Now what you do then is you're all familiar with the order to file and print, and you've got a PDF file for all your 24s and labels. What I do after the convention is I print a set of 24 labels, 2000, for the next calendar year, the next year. Okay, so people that renew on the early bird, I've got a list of the 153 names on here. And when I peel a label off, I know that they've automatically renewed. So I can just look at the remaining sheets and see how many people still have to renew yet. Okay, so that's one way you might want to keep it in mind. Okay, are there any questions? We're getting close to showtime here. Let me just share one thing that Rich does that you might want to consider, and I do it at times. When you're back to your Excel sheet, there's a lot of things that you can do with Excel. You know, when you get the membership forms and you sit there, somebody sends in their dues, Jane Smith or John Doe sends in their dues, so then you go over there and you fill in the information, check number, whether check or cash, and the date, et cetera, like that. What Rich and I generally do is you go to the Excel sheet and you put those extra columns at the end. And if you want to get fancy with it, we take the different categories, like the paid up for life and the honorary memberships, and we color band them across. Okay?
I got one thing.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
If you have access to your sons, which you do, if you print their labels out, you need to regain access to your post. Because it'll kick you off your post, put you on the sons, so you can print their labels, but you can't get back into your post unless you get permission again. So watch that, because we print labels for everybody.
Yeah.
And I went on to the Suns, because it says post or
Yeah, well,
Sun.
yeah.
Right.
Once you do that, you lose access to your post. So you have to be reinstated access to your post.
Who reinstates you?
Your commander.
Commander
I
Rat.
don't mean if I do it as commander, and I printed
You
that.
should still keep it
Yeah, you shouldn't lose it.
You shouldn't lose it, hopefully.
You're at a higher level than the people to whom you give permissions.
Oh, all right.
So if you're a
So
commander, you wouldn't
theoretically-
get kicked off?
No, I'm actually the membership chairman here.
Yeah.
So my commander had to give me access, even though I have access to all 4
If you're a
counties.
commander accessing and you go to the Suns list, are you gonna get kicked out and then have to come back in?
You should not.
You should
All
not.
right, that's the question.
But when you say come back in, you mean we have to go sign back in?
No, you need to get access
commander
from your
would then have to
commander to
give
give
you
you
access.
permission again.
Oh, okay. All right, now I
I
got it.
haven't experienced that, but it sounds like it's a glitch that they'll be working on.
Interesting.
When you sign into mylegion.org,
No,
there's
I
an
did
area
not.
you can go into of known problems that they're working on,
Mhm.
and they do track and follow. Okay, sir.
Could you go back to
I noticed-
reports and labels? I had 4 different individuals ask me, how do I find my expired members? And there's an ability to send a letter out.
Oh, yeah, the letters, that's a really good point.
I don't have access.
Okay, let me get back into that,
All right.
and then we got a break in 5 minutes, because the host wants us to do that. Okay, we're going to,
I'm not even sure my adjutant and membership chair, I don't know who has access.
I planned on having lunch after this, so if you stay, let me know if you're gonna go, so I can order it now.
I'll stay.
okay,
All we were gonna do was order pizza, so.
Oh,
that's fine. All right, so the objective is to send renewal letters. Okay, so we sign in again, you're all familiar with that, we're in my account, okay? So then we come over to my groups.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Our objective is we're gonna print renewal letters. That's a feature that they just restored, by the way. That's nice, it's a real nice feature. Okay, we're gonna go back into my groups. And we're going to go to reports and labels. Okay. Quick comment only. Post of squadron current roster, that's a different way of getting there. Member online renewals. Suppose your membership chairperson, remember, normally the checks come in, you see them, et cetera, et cetera. If John Q. Smith or Mary Jane Doe sends it automatically, or renews it online, this is where you go to see what it is. You know, a small post, I don't check it that often, weekly. Rick checks it on a daily basis, he's got 1,652 people in it. Okay, so we're going to go for renewal letters. So TAL and SAL, they're self-explanatory, one's the Legion and one's the Suns, okay? And the TAL letters, so we click on letter here. Bear in mind that we're in post 86, remember? Okay, now, the group, back here to post 86. Last year paid, so if they've expired in 23 and we want to send it to them, so last year paid would be 23. Okay. Oh, this is good, this is new information, they've just changed this a couple of months ago. When we went out to National, they didn't, this wasn't available. Well, see where it says post contact name and post contact title? Okay, what they didn't have that available, and it defaults to the commander and the commander's name and the commander's title. So I always changed it, I used to load these into Word, print them on Word, but then I do a global search and replace on Word, and put my name and my phone number so the commander doesn't get all the phone calls about membership. But here's what they can do. Right now, it defaults to the commander's name, so you can type in your name. Oops. Oh, Phil, that's okay.
You don't know your name?
I'm still working on it, okay? I hit, okay, and the title, okay, membership. And then I would put a dash in the phone number, okay? We don't need to do that. Okay, so we're at post 86, post contact's name, the title and the phone number. and sort by name again.
That'll show up in the letter.
Ah, you're gonna see that if things go well. And we're gonna do view report. Now, there's 153 names that it's gotta work on. Well, this- Okay. It's there, but it's, okay. So here's what the letter looks like. Let's see if I can make that a little smaller here, okay. So remember, this individual is in transit, he renewed, but it hasn't been processed completely yet. So what it'll show, this is rather large, okay. Changing it doesn't change the perspective up here, unfortunately. Okay, so it tells you the Newton Post 86, so that's a good ID. Here's the individual's name underscored, we want you back. It's kind of nice. And it's personalized, dear so-and-so here, okay? This is really, really well done. I invite you to come back and make American Legion Post 86. It is customized to the post you chose. That is really super nice, all kinds of information here. And here's the dues. That's another thing. Make sure you follow up on the paperwork with the correct amount for your dues, because that's what prints on this letter. Ours is currently 35 and is going to remain that way next year. So it's good there. And bless them all, here is the address to mail the check to. That is a blessing for it. And then best regards, and look here, here's the, yours truly's name and membership, and then I would put my cell phone number in there, in the post, okay? And then my dues payment of 35 is involved. Now, this is another fascinating thing. It does a lot of great things. Please provide any missing information. It's also a good chance for them to review it. So here's the membership name, the branch of service, the war era plural, the email and the phone number, etc., okay? Bingo. So what you do is you print that, go back up to here again, see where it says the icon? And I print them out in MS Word. I'm not gonna do it because it'll be 153 members times 2 pages. You see how that works now? When you click on save it to MS Word, it will load it into MS Word as a mail merge document, and it is wonderful, okay? Thank you for bringing that part up.
Well, the point that you just made me feel better, they never had the post commander before. So I didn't bother printing it out because National hadn't received the new commander's name, so it showed the old commander's name. I wasn't gonna cross it out. Vanessa showed me today, so I mean, it's good
Yeah,
to
it's
know that
really
we
good.
can
And
do
it's the
that.
same thing for the SAL, plus you can do separate labels for these.
Right.
Okay, and again, as I mentioned, when we were out there in National in July, this was, that portion where you would fill in the name right in here, and the name and the title, I used to have to do that by mail merge through a global search and replace using MS Word.
Now, if you're at home and you have that, you hit print. It's gonna
Yeah, they
print everybody that hasn't paid, everybody that's expired.
Yeah, and you can print labels for them, bingo.
Print the labels
It-
and-
This is 5 stars for them, that's really, really good on it.
Does the SAL have a similar type of a?
Yeah, let me go back.
They can,
Remember the page where I was just at, right here, renewal letter, TAL,
yeah,
is renewal letter, SAL.
but can they get into this
What,
site, or do they have their own SAL site?
They share this,
They share it with,
I'm told they share this,
yes.
oh.
okay?
But most
Interesting.
sons commanders don't have authorization, so they can't give it to nobody. So that's why I print their labels.
Most sons adjutants don't have it, access either.
Okay.
Well, what I'm gonna do for our county meeting Thursday, every post that's here that doesn't have access, I'm gonna have the form for you. Fill it out, I'll send it to the department, and I'll send it to National, and hopefully they'll get everybody on.
Piggybacking on the labels, your elections are in May,
Next month.
and your installation is in May. So if you're the membership chairman and you have access to this, print the labels from
No.
2023. Because that'll give you the expired ones that are expired, it'll give you the whole roster. Department has postcards. You print out the labels, you put their name on the postcard says you haven't renewed. You know, is there something wrong? Give me a call. And you mail it. And that's how you can, without a letter, that's how you can get them to say, hey, you know what? I didn't renew.
Good. Tony, do I have 5 more minutes?
Yeah, because it's gonna take a while for the pizza to get here.
Okay. It's funny. This.
Well, hold on.
Go ahead.
I ordered a pepperoni Sicilian, a regular cheese pie, and a regular sausage pie. So I got all 3 bases covered.
No calories, you don't take the
Yeah,
calories.
It's all gluten free.
Okay, let's say you're gonna have a post revitalization where you're going to get together and you're gonna call people in post 1000 that live in this area.
You want me to walk through it again?
Now, we all know what post 1000 is.
The enemy.
Pardon?
The enemy.
No.
Well, we,
I'm
okay,
kidding.
well, classic case. National sends out lists of membership applications, if you will, advertising to veterans, and it says if you, for this amount of dollars, which was 35 at the time, you can choose between a free penknife with the branch of service or something else, I forget what it is, and your membership for 1 year. So that's how a lot of us did it in the old days. And then you are assigned post 1000, which is trend. It's a default post. And we found out in Nashville that post 1000 is a term that we use in New Jersey. Other states have different default posts. But bottom line, it's a default post. Now, that person renews to post 1000 and the membership money stays in the Trenton area, stays in the department. So we get together periodically, we print out lists within a 5-mile radius of each of our zip codes for our post. Right, we separate list for each one. Okay, remember that's when we use the Excel, you can hide the columns that you don't need to keep it workable. Okay, so what we do is we print it out within a 5-mile radius, and then we make a phone call to the veteran. They're in post 1000, and we sort it, again, the highest number down. They've been a member for 25 years sometimes there. And we ask them, we say, hi, I'm Ellis Marples calling from post 86, and Merton Legion post 86 in Newton. How are you doing today? And if it's a Vietnam veteran, you say welcome home, because that's part of the nomenclature. We weren't welcome when we came home. So you say, the reason I'm calling today is to, first of all, to check on you, make sure you're okay. Okay, make it like buddy check type of a call. And then I like to say, you know, you personalize it. Look, we're not calling for money or anything, we're just calling to ask for your permission to transfer you to a post that is local in your community. Okay, it won't cost you anything. I bet you, make sure you did, that they're paid for 23 the previous year. Okay, it won't cost you anything, but the benefit is that a portion of your dues money will then come back to your local community to help veterans locally, as opposed to staying down in Trenton. Okay, and the vast majority of people who have answered the phone have said yes. The vast majority of calls have gone to answer machines. So what we do, it's a good way to wind it down. We tell people that on the message, we said that we're just asking permission, can you please give me a call? My name is Ellis and my phone number is such 201-522-2926. Make sure we say it slowly because we're old people at times. Okay. And sometimes they call back. Steve, and when you had your dinner, I'm sitting out in the parking lot with Jerry Sheard, and my phone goes off, and I got there early, I'm sitting there waiting, and the guy says, oh, you left a message, I'm returning your call 3 days later. Okay, so it works, and that's important, okay? But let me just show you how to get there first, okay? All right, so how do we find post 1000 members within a 5-mile radius of where we are now? That's our objective.
Right.
Okay, so we come into this page, okay, which is the reports and labels. And we come down here to find members in my area, distance from zip. Now, don't confuse that with the bottom one, which is similar wording, but not quite. Distance from zip is what we want here, okay? So we click on that. Now, notice this is only TAL, okay? It doesn't work for the SAL just yet. Okay, so the last year paid, you can do this anywhere you want. I always choose the last year paid. We're not asking for any money. That's a good selling point. If you transfer somebody from the last paid 2 years ago, they have to pay 2 years to get current, or 1 year to even get up there. Okay, so we select 2023. The distance is 0, 5, 10. You can read it as well as I am. We choose 5. And the zip code. What's our zip code here, folks?
Well,
08012?
08012?
2-1.
080.
Blackwood, Clementon.
2-1-1-2, I don't know.
12.
I don't live here. Stratford
080.
08084. Put in 08084.
Oh, wait a minute. 0 what?
08084.
08084.
That's what I thought.
This is not one of the wonderful portions here. 08084, got it? Okay? All right, let's take a look here. We selected the last year paid was 1 year ago. They'll change when we get into the next year after the convention. So they're paid up for 23. Actually, we should change it to 24 at that point. We're in 24, so if we're looking for members that are already paid in 1,000, we have to select the current year. And the distance we chose was 5 miles and 08084, correct, gentlemen, ladies? All right, hit the view.
Yeah.
By the way, coming up in March, in the early portion of March, we have a national vice commander coming out to spend some time with us. And membership chair Rich Godfrey is setting up a revitalization which will take place in Trenton, and we'll be doing this actual information here. Now, this is kind of small. You can see it better on your own computers. But the bottom line is the left column is, let me make it a little bit larger so you can see it. Okay. These are all paid for 2024, and the number of them is, let's see, that's the bottom. Oh, maybe just more than one page here. Huh. Wait a
I'm
minute.
gonna have to do it, can't.
One of
I can't.
Yeah, next page, it did change, okay. There should be there should be a bar at the bottom that tells you the total. Anyway, there's a lot of them here. All right, so what we do is we download them here into Excel. I'm not gonna do it right now, but the nice part is you download it into Excel, and then what we do is we sort descending by continuous years of service. If somebody's been there for 25 or 30 years, we call it low-hanging fruit, if you will. That's a good prospect. Okay. I've only had one say no, and his reason for it was, I don't want somebody to call me from the post and invite me to a dinner. So the chances of that happening very often are very slim. All right, but-
So, well, then we should ask him if he needs help.
Pardon?
We should ask him if he needs help.
Yeah,
What do you do?
and one of the cases where like a lady answered, my husband's not available right now, can I take a message? I said, sure. And we shared that with her, and she says, yeah, go ahead and do it, I'll tell him when he returns. So when we do these revitalizations, we set up people with a little bit of space in between them, so that the phones don't crisscross. When we did one in Trenton, we're sitting next to each other and it gets kind of loud. The guy sitting next to me had a little speakerphone, it was real hard to hear. That was pie. But the bottom line is that you print these out, I drop them into Excel, and I hide the columns that are not relevant. The street address isn't relevant, the city is. Okay, so you had a question, sir? One of you,
No, I
Bruce?
just wanted to point out, last March when we did this,
Yeah.
I looked at my zip codes, 08109 and 08110, And lo and behold, there was 3 names that I had transferred the previous year to my post, but now were shown as 1,000. And I think what happened was the mailings went out from National with their 1,000 post instead of 68. They renewed and it put them back into 1,000. So it's just something to keep, follow up to make sure they get transferred permanently.
Yes, and I will leave it with this. When we bring a member into our post, we vet the member, meaning that we check the credentials. That is the term, not dealing with us, it means with everything. It means that we're checking the credentials, okay? So we check to make sure they have a valid DD 214 with honorable service. When they get the advertisements, they don't check them, okay? So what we do is, if we do it in a group together, when we do the county register and the district one, I have the sheets there, and I make extra columns on the right side. I hide a bunch of columns we don't need, put extras on there, and then I like to do the MDLs, or MDS, membership data form transfers. That way I know they're all done correctly, and I do them using Adobe. Then I send them to Trish. But I put them into a database, an Excel sheet, and sort them by post. And then